We have another game going on Monday night. The Panthers against the Eagles in the NFC. Eagles open 5.5, and they're now up to 6. Early number with a total of 48. Panthers played a little bit longer rest here. They played Thursday. Boy, that was not a good game, losing 28-10 to the Saints. It's part of a 3-game skid. Meanwhile, the Eagles are home from a road trip. They lost at Arizona, won at Houston, but they also lost their quarterback. So we're looking. Nick Foles is out, and you got Mark Sanchez in there. And, Harvard, this Carolina team, they haven't won, or they've only won one game the last 7 contests, 1-5-1 run. So, I mean, is this team done?
I think the team's done. And if you look at the body language of Cam Newton, this guy is uninspired. He's lethargic. He just doesn't even look like he's going through the motions without any enthusiasm. And I'm not saying you have to have the Pete Carroll pom-poms out on the sidelines, but you got to at least look like you're inspired, that you have a plan, that, hey, come on, guys, you know what? Even if we're not going to win this year, let's get it for next year. Or you have to have something. I don't know how you sell if you don't even look like you're inspired enough to be on the field. And I think a lot of that, like you said, they're on a 1-5-1 run. They've lost 3 in a row. He's had 3 of his offensive linemen out. But I remember, I think it was last year, it looked like I remember seeing him sit on the sidelines with a towel over his head, like sulking or something. So you got that type of team. Now they're going up to playing an inspired Philadelphia Eagles team. They not only lose their quarterback, but look at this. They're on the road. They're playing one of the best defenses in the country in Houston Texans. They lose the quarterback, and they still win by 10 points, 31-21. To me, that shows a lot. I really like this Chip Kelly's offense. I think you can put almost anybody in it. When he was in Oregon, he didn't need a quarterback. He needed just somebody that could fit the system and do what he needed to do. Well, Sanchez was that guy. He's that guy now. He's got more mobility than Foles ever had. He throws it just as well. I think this is, to me, if you're ever going to be a team that loses a quarterback and needs somebody, Sanchez is your guy. So you people that are, and I don't want to insult you and say you amateurs, you public bettors and things like that, just get a chance to read the paper and say, hey, Foles is out and Sanchez because I only remember him from the Jets. Get off that. This guy will absolutely do as well, if not better, than Nick Foles. And as I said previously, I'd be more worried about the safety. Nate Allen, he pulled a hamstring. I can't stand hamstrings this time of the year when it's getting into the cold weather, and they're tough to work through and things like that. But they have a nice lead. They got Washington, who's been losing. They got New York Giants, who looked just pathetic last night. They got Tony Romo injured or not injured and all that. So it looks like they could go all the way, get home field advantage, get the win their division. And think back, though, like I just said, you got Cam Newton, uninspired and lethargic, coming in on the road to Sanchez, who just absolutely he's got to be like a little boy that just found the toy store. So anyway, I'm going to be taking the Eagles, and I don't care how many points I have to lay. I don't even think it's going to come close. I mean, it could be a 31-3 game. It could be a 31-13 game, but the 8 points won't even come into play.
So you think Sanchez is a good fit for this team?
Absolutely, 100%. That's what you need in this type of offense is mobility. It makes it work even stronger. Remember the days back when they had the wishbone at Oklahoma? Man, you had that quarterback that you needed a mobile quarterback, and then when he would be running, you didn't know if he would then run as he's running towards the sidelines, you didn't know if he was going to pitch out or run straight ahead. Well, that's exactly what they have here, but now it's not called the wishbone, but it is that quick offense.
Yeah, and this Eagles team have actually been a go-against team in Vegas when they've been at home the last couple of years. 8-23-1 spread run at home. However, Chip Kelly's in his second year, and the Eagles are now 4-0 straight up at home, 2-2 against the spread. Despite those problems with the offensive line and the injuries and now their quarterback done, the offensive numbers that Chip Kelly is putting up is just sensational. Again, 5th in the NFL in passing, 8th in rushing the football, and they come off the victory with Mark Sanchez throwing 2 touchdowns, but also 2 picks, which is the key right now. So, Zach, how do you assess the Eagles going forward?
The Eagles look phenomenal right now, but this change at quarterback, everybody's on it. Everyone I'm hearing is saying, oh, this is great, this is great, this is great. Well, let's go back to the Eagles. This Eagles team has went through quarterbacks probably at a higher rate than anybody in the National Football League in the last 2.5 to 3 years. Donovan McNabb, Kevin Cobb, Michael Vick, uh, the guy out right now. I'm forgetting Nick Foles, right? Nick Foles, Mark Sanchez. I think they had a quarterback play. They might have had a quarterback start a couple games in there as well.
Barkley too, I think.
Yep, so. Matt Barkley. So 6 quarterbacks in a 2.5, 3 year span. It was a lot of the same personnel still there. Obviously, his changeover doesn't happen that quick in the NFL. And Mark Sanchez came in that game in the second quarter. It just flowed. Houston wasn't prepared for it. I think that Foles would have lit them up just as well as Mark Sanchez did. The way that game was going, Foles had that big bomb to Jeremy Maclin that got them going before he got hurt. And Houston, we talked about that team going into their bye week that the quarterback change was coming. Their defense was overrated throughout the year. They make big turnovers, but they give up lots of yards. And the Eagles were the prime team to expose them. Now reports in Houston are they're going to bench Ryan Fitzpatrick coming out of the bye for Ryan Mallett. So we'll see if that actually takes place. But there's a misnomer also with Chip Kelly that I'll talk about here. Primetime Chip Kelly in the NFL is not true. When he was in college, that was the case. You could play the over, you could play Oregon, and it was money, money, money. I don't even know what the trend was on that, but it always hit. But in the NFL, they played against the Redskins and looked good, but that one went under the total. They played against Kansas City a few weeks later in the Mike Vick matchup, 26-16 final, went under the total. Last year, the key game against Dallas, late in the season, went under the total. Game a few weeks ago against the Giants, 27-0 shutout, went under the total. And the biggest difference with this Eagles team compared to last year is their defense. It's much better. They get the turnovers, probably a couple a game. They've got an aggressive defensive line and linebackers, and they make plays happen. You've got a rusty quarterback in Cam Newton, which I think is just personnel based. He has Kelvin Benjamin at wide receiver. Greg Olson's getting blanketed right now, and they have no talent at wide receiver. You're seeing Brandon LaFell have a career year over in New England. And they lost another guy. I don't even know where he's at, but Steve Smith. They lost him, who he was doing great. Baltimore has regressed the past couple of weeks, but the guy they have trying to start opposite Kelvin Benjamin is Jason Avant, Philadelphia Eagles' third, fourth receiver for 10 years. So who does Cam Newton have to throw to, and who does he have to run the football? Philadelphia has too much speed on defense for Cam Newton to have a good game. I think it's going to be low scoring. Because Carolina's not going to be able to score, number one, and then you have Mark Sanchez getting his first start in over a year, so that's going to be in his head. And Ron Rivera, his background is defense, so if he can't get the job done against Mark Sanchez early on, he's going to be on the chopping block real quick because his record is he was on the chopping block last year before that run, and I'm sure if this game goes bad, it's going to be ugly for Ron.
Hey, let me cut in there back to Mark Sanchez. You know, in preseason, he was this guy was fantastic running the plays. I believe he had one stretch, he was 8 for 8. He did everything that he had to do. Going back to Houston's game, the first interception, he had 2. The first one hit the receiver right in the hands. I mean, he couldn't get it any better. It hit in the hands, went in, got tipped, and then all of a sudden it's an interception. Well, it wasn't his fault. The second one was just a timing on a route, which like you just said, he hadn't played in a long time, so you can expect one of those. But as far as those putting up, he had 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Basically, he had 2 touchdowns. And, yeah, you can call them 2 interceptions, but it wasn't as bad as what some people are saying. And one more thing about Cam Newton. If you remember the body language that I talk about things like that. Are you inspired? Are you going to go forward with, playing your team? When he played at Baltimore about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and Steve Smith is the reason that they ended up losing that game, and all of a sudden he's looking over there seeing the guy they just traded away and just beat us. I think that's when all of a sudden things just switched over in his head, and it was like, how the hell did you trade him? Why don't we have any receivers? Why don't I have this? How come you haven't given me the tools? And this guy is known to suck and sold. So that's my take on that game again.
Well, the Eagles haven't been covering numbers for a while, not just at home. 16-25-1 against the spread. When Chip Kelly faces a bad team with a losing record, he can run it up 9-3 over the total. On the other hand, Carolina is a defensive first team, or has been. They're 11-2 under the total against the NFC. The thing that stands out for me about Carolina, they lost weapons on offense, but this defense has really taken an enormous step back. They lost some key personnel during the offseason. 17th against the pass and 26th against the run. This is a bad team. I don't see them getting back into this very bad division. All right, let's get into some best bets. Zach, you're on a 25-17 college football run, 28-7-2 in the NFL. How can folks get aboard you for this weekend?
JimFeist.com is the website, and you'll see me under there on the handicapper section, main section right there. And I'm usually pretty thorough on my plays. I give good write-ups, good analysis, and my plays are usually up between that window of Thursday afternoon and Thursday night. Should have a 5-pack special in college football, one of the best college Saturdays of the season. Obviously, things are starting to tighten up with the second release of the rankings. And there's going to be a lot of good matchups with teams trying to move up. NFL, we're back to the tremendous amount of bye weeks this week, so I think I'll have another good week in the NFL. That's been my consistent week-to-week sport, and I'm going to look to stockpile some wins. So get on board with me. You can't knock the percentages. If you're looking for a consistent handicapper, I'm your guy, and I'll give you good rates on the website, JimFeist.com.
And best bet?
Best bet, actually looking up a stat right now, and I think I'm going to side with the Arizona Cardinals this week against the St. Louis Rams. A lot of people are going to be thinking the Rams are a worthy team to back, and yeah, it's not going to be the case. I've seen enough of this Rams team this year to not bet for them. So if I ever make a play, it's going to be against them. San Francisco just had one of those ugly games that I mentioned. St. Louis could game plan. People are going to think, wow, St. Louis, they beat San Francisco, they beat Seattle. Let's go ahead and knock against Arizona Cardinals this week because they're going to be ready for a letdown. No, they're not. Not against this St. Louis team. There's a thing when you step outside of your division, you get exposed when you're not a good team. And St. Louis is not a good team. They're going outside of their division, and the Arizona Cardinals are going to keep feeding off these teams. They've had a great schedule this year, and that's one of the reasons why Arizona's probably going to get close to capturing a bye week. And this matchup here against St. Louis is just going to play into their hands. I'm trying to see how many games in a row that the Cardinals have covered. 1, 2, 3, 4. They've covered 4 straight games since that loss to the Denver Broncos. They beat Washington Redskins, Oakland Raiders, Philadelphia Eagles, and the Dallas Cowboys. Even before that, they beat the Giants and the 49ers. So they've covered a tremendous amount of games, 7-1 in their last 8 against the spread. And it's going to be another one here. -7 is a gift right now. It's probably going to move up by Sunday, I would imagine. And Austin Davis, he's not going to be able to mask his mistakes against this Cardinals team. This is one of the reasons why the Arizona Cardinals are the best team in football right now. They have the best defensive coordinator in football and the best offensive mind in football. So Bruce Arians, you're seeing Larry Fitzgerald get re-involved in the offense the past 2 weeks suddenly. They have a great third wide out receiver in John Brown that stretches the field. We saw what the 49ers did before the half on stretching the field. When you have those type of weapons against a weak secondary of the St. Louis Rams, it's going to be a heyday for Carson Palmer, and they can't sack the quarterback. Last week they got as many sacks in the first half as they had in the whole season, 6. Trust me, Bruce Arians will have quick play designs to expose that team, and I could see Arizona having one of their best games of the season and finally getting that stamp of approval from everybody and not being the team everybody keeps forgetting about. So Arizona Cardinals best bet. Look me up on JimFeist.com, and we'll be checking the YouTube comments this week.
All right, Harvard, 55-33 run since August 1st. Hit that AFC rival game of the year, 37-0 with Miami. Let's have a best bet.
Well, my best bet, we're going into the colleges. It was a cocktail party last week down in Jacksonville, and Florida. Where did they come from? They got up, they beat Georgia. Are you kidding me? How the hell did they blow them out? I was praying for Muscamp to get fired. I wanted to have a cocktail on, after the game, but okay, I guess my 21st year of not drinking is going to continue because he did get the win. Well, Are they going to win 2 in a row with what we've seen this year? Absolutely not. I mean, they're laying 14.5 on the road against Vanderbilt. I'm taking the Commodores, and that is going to be my best bet. But your best bet could be what you guys have actually written in about my top 25. They love my college plays all year long. There's only one way that my dime players are up over 20,000, and that's with winners, and most of my winners have come on Saturdays. Well, we've got Alabama LSU, and this is going to be 5 games for 55. The Alabama LSU game, fantastic matchup down in LSU. Ohio State's playing Michigan State. Notre Dame playing Arizona State. Out west, we've got Oregon, Utah. I've been watching these 2 teams. Can't wait to see this. And, I've played huge plays on Kansas State, and I've been a big TCU fan, and they also match. So we got those 5 games for $55. And, Zach, I do like Austin Davis. Going forward, maybe not this week, like you said, but this guy's not a bad quarterback. Let's give him a chance to see what he's going to do in the next year or so.
All right, speaking of quarterbacks, I will go with the Denver Broncos as a best bet, -11 at Oakland. But you know what? Home field hasn't been anything in this series as far as Vegas is concerned. The road team 15-5-1 against the spread. Denver ripped this team 37-21 and 34-14 a year ago. And Denver is better than they were a year ago, while the Raiders are worse. In addition, Denver's 5-1 ATS at Oakland. Jim Feist off that 7-2 NFL weekend. He had the Dolphins 37-0, and another one of those rare high roller online releases. That was Ravens Steelers over, now a perfect 4-0, plus his Monday Night Football total of the year. Colts Giants sailed over. Another high roller play is available on Sunday, as well as another college conference game of the year. Those plays and more at jimfeist.com. We will see you next week with another edition of the NFL version of ProLine. Good luck with the games, everyone.